Hello, it's LOL's birthday, and we're now 1 year older and wiser.
Can you believe it's been 1 year? It's changed so much, so many dynamics from 5 to 4 to now 2.
Mm.
And we're manifesting a lot from our crystalline essence and nature of spirit. So we're talking about crystallizing those crystallizing cities next on LOL. Say it.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living the stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Leading out loud. Leading out loud. Leading out loud.
Welcome to Leading Out Loud, the show that gives you a shift in spiritual but absolutely nothing practical or helpful. I'm psychic astrologer Christopher Wotecki, the sensei to SiriusStar.com. Hello. Hello, Scott.
Hi, and I'm Scott Cruz, psychic medium and mentor with ScottCruzPM.com. How are you doing after that full moon in Scorpio?
I am good. It's my opposite sign. For me, it's seventh house, which is relationships. So I would say relationships did shatter. I broke through like a limitation I had on myself for sure. So I felt
That's
that for
good.
sure. Yeah. And I feel stronger and better. So, I mean, it's been a good Taurus
Good.
season. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. I mean, I just been exhausted the past week. I had to take some like downtime.
I've been
I'm
exhausted
just like
too, actually. For the record, like energy has been way low. I'm just
very
like,
low.
I've been just like bowling out in the sun, just dying. And I just figured that's because of change. I mean, I was tired. I mean, I'm still tired from that full moon, actually.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm making sure I'm taking my cues. Like usually I try to push through it. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm lessening my schedule. Lounging on the couch with the dogs. I'm allowing it. So, you know,
Yeah, I'm on
as you and I,
COVID.
that's hard for us to do, right? To allow it.
Yeah, I think I personally feel like you have to kind of take everything as a potential.
Yeah,
You got to tune in with your higher self with everything. I think right now because
totally.
we're on to a new chapter, a new world. It's pretty interesting how intense it is. But yeah, excellent. So this week we're going to do actually something about called crystal cities. We started talking about backstage, but we're going to do a psychic lightning round first. Let's bring this back to our collective read and lightning round style. Basically, I'm going to ask you a question, and you just psychically tell me what comes first to mind, even if it offends a politician. Okay?
Okay,
We
so
have the music.
I'm on the chopping block here again. Okay,
What's the current collective block that's slowing manifestations of crystal cities?
acceptance.
I want to drill down on that. Like, what can they not accept?
I think a lot of people cannot accept things outside of themselves, especially when it comes to previous beliefs, religion, politics. I think people are very still hold on to their beliefs and their ideologies so much that they're not accepting the whole, the mass, the bigger picture of things. And so I've been seeing a lot of that fragmentation that's holding the collective back from tapping into their own, spiritual powers and so forth.
Yeah, they're not opening up really to
Nope.
other. Yeah, got it. Okay, next question. What energy needs to be activated next to help us as society?
The heart chakra. We need to activate the heart. I don't know, Christopher. You and I have been saying this for a long time too. For probably the past 6 months, that we're getting to using more of the heart as of late and needing to now. And I've been seeing that more with my individual sessions. That they're starting to learn more how to use the heart. So I think the heart is the center actually right now. That's going to illuminate all that.
Okay. Well, then another question. What should people be doing? I was waiting for the music. There it is. What should people be doing to release these blocks within them?
I hate to sound cliche, but surrender so they can accept.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so surrendering means I would say also allowance. When you're allowing, life to take its form, you can then surrender and then that will allow you to accept. So I would say surrender, but also allowance, like allowing the tides to turn.
Well, what are you surrendering to?
Well, a lot of people are having a hard time with their own growth process. And so they're not surrendering to their own growth process, which is going to launch them into being more heart focused. So it could be them not thinking outside of themselves. It could be them not accepting the bigger picture for themselves or accepting their own gifts. I find a lot of my clients are not accepting their own gifts and their own intuition. So even just surrendering to that power and allowing that power to be considered will launch us back into heart focus.
I would say to add on to that, but not detract, I would say that surrender to what you've always known. You
Hmm.
know, That's the new what we're going into. You've always known, and how many years you have to be old to get for that to count.
Yeah.
So sort of to what you know deep inside.
Yeah.
All right, then our last final question for this lightning round here. What message do our ancestors have for us right now as we are in this transformative moment?
We're called to lead the way. We all have to lead in our own individual voices and our own individual perspectives. That does not mean you have to be a huge light worker. You can lead even in your jobs, in your family, in your households. We have to start taking leadership right now. And so we're all called to lead right now and using our voices. That is imperative right now.
Great answers. I like it, especially for Unite the Light. Which
Yes,
is happening here
absolutely.
in the next 48 hours. We have 3 days away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm flying out tomorrow tonight. Like, the whole cruise planning. It's been intense, man. And I actually think, Nashville may be a crystal city. We'll talk about that in a moment. First, weather going on, but yeah, it's an interesting moment, dude. And just for the record, we now have scored Scott. Scott will be on as a host, right? Is that a yes? I'm just put you on the spot right now.
Well, host or spectator? I felt like I was taking the role as like being kind of the spectator in between things, right? And kind of being the entertainer, right?
Host like at a parade, or host like, like you're there observing, watching through your eyes. Yeah, you're like, yeah, you're a spectator. Yeah, totally. You're an
That'd be fun
eyewitness.
for me.
An eyewitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Via satellite, yeah, because I couldn't be there physically. So yeah,
Yes.
I'd be there via satellite. Remember that?
Yeah, totally. Live via satellite. Yeah, now it's live via,
Ethernet, live via Ethernet.
or whatever, because Elon's thing is called Skynet.
Starlink, live via Starlink.
Live via Starlink. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, how would you pay for that?
Sponsored by.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. We've actually timed it, just so you know, we've timed it with the astrology. We're doing some astrology magic, some astro magic with this. We deliberately had it all apex on Saturday night when the sun conjuncts Uranus, which is your ruling planet. I wish we could be live when that actually, you will be. After you're done live, then it'll happen. So we might actually see Scott start to slowly look like he's getting, something wrong in his bowels, and that is the sun enjoying his home planet.
Well, I might actually live stream from the John. So I'm live streaming from the bed, live from the kitchen. I mean, that would be the shtick. I'm live streaming all over the house. Hey guys, here's my backyard. So
That'd be cool.
why not bring some fun?
Yeah, it'd be great. Y'all, you can still get tickets. I think it's something you want to connect with. You want to connect with the people there. There's a lot of magic going on. You want to be guided by those who are in their hearts, and we love to have you connected. You can still get tickets at unitethelight.love. I have some euros. Unitethelight.love. Okay, spread the love. Yay! All right, had to plug that. Now let's talk about the planets. You're giggly today. There's a lot in the world.
Now the dog wants to play. I don't know if you saw her come on
I
camera.
saw that.
So.
Okay, good. I thought it was
So
that funny. We're going to talk about crystal cities, but first let's talk about what's going on energetically. Now, I feel like, we had a full moon of Scorpio. You brought that up already at step 22. Step 22 is a transformative step. It's ruled by Uranus. That was a Uranus ruled degree on Monday. What did you experience as an Aquarius on that full moon? What did it do for you essentially?
Oh my God. I seriously felt like it got hit by a ton of bricks, and it's weird because I felt as an Aqua, like I have so much I want to do, but I also have to take a step back and not do it. And also been introspective and as an Aqua, yes. And I also kind of will read collectively. I feel this is true with the collective too, being introspective a lot and trying to really reposition your navigation and where you're going. I definitely been doing that in my downtime and allowing that. So I think a lot of people have been exhausted. A lot of people I know have been in the hospital this past week and 2 weeks. I heard a lot of vertigo cases, people feeling vertigo, out of balance, right? So, for me, I think during this time when we're starting to feel it, surrender to that. Understand if you're out of balance, take some time to rebalance. If you're feeling tired, surrender to tired. Get the rest. Don't fight it. And so I think that we need to understand what surrendering really means during this time. That means you're allowing the process to be. I always say too, Christopher, and I'm going to end it here, is that, animals hibernate, right, for the winter, and a lot of animals will hibernate in certain aspects of their life. When do we hibernate? We're always go all the time. So we have to understand when's our hibernation periods.
It's valid. I mean, I'm not going to answer that for myself. I just have a lot to do this lifetime. I think a lot of people hibernate. Looking at their butts in the store, they're hibernating, man. They're hibernating. It's you and I that's hibernating.
They're packing on food like they're crossing the Saharas over there. They freaking we're talking about those of us who are participating, who are active, like those who are, after you watch the show, they're not like piling on the junk food, but those of us who are very much participants in society, we have to learn that balance, of when we need to I would say exhale in life.
Yes, agreed. That's step 6. Take it in, take in nature, take in your honey,
There you go.
take, inhale, not just exhale. I agree totally. And actually, that's my secret. I mean, I'm all 9s and I need 6s. That will.
It's my life path.
I need more 60s in my life, more 60 people in my life, and I think that'll help everything else.
I'm a 6. I'm a 6, right?
I know.
Well, and my
You're very-
in numerology, I'm a 6. Yeah. What?
Yeah, you're very 60.
No, thank you.
Definitely. Another thing that happened on Saturday, I'm going to do a little bit of echo. Mercury entered into Taurus. I don't know if you felt that on
Yeah.
Saturday. That made us like from hyper-minded to calm-minded. I think part of the tired is that our mind was on like some sort of adrenaline speed.
Yes.
So we're just like, like, and then Mercury went to Taurus, which is like, doo-doo-doo-doo, boom, 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 boom. Taurus, that's Taurus energy. So suddenly it's just like, I was really going, and I think there's a definite crash from coming off of the cocaine of Mercury and Aries. What about you?
I don't know. For me, I was more like dun 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 dun. That's Taurus energy to me. No, but I feel like the Taurus after Saturday, I felt like okay with being exhausted, and then like I said before, like feeling pumped for like my next mission, right? Pumped for my next change. So I feel like when it went back to Taurus, I feel like the Taurus energy really kind of got me pumped to go move forward because I felt like I'm okay. I'm resting right now. I need this. I've been kind of like redesigning, what I want to do with my work, my voice, my show, all that stuff. So I feel that's what the Taurus energy is bringing.
Well, I still want things that are fun. Like I fell asleep with a donut on my chest. I mean, like I was going after the food. I just got tired. I was pumped. So I want it. It's just my body's like, take a second. Just one second, please.
Yeah.
Now this Saturday at Unite the Light, but also across the world, the Sun will conjunct Uranus at step 27 Taurus. That's to 9. That means that there will be change or action. What I've just advised everyone recording the horoscopes for the week that's on Namaste Today is that I've said to everyone, you're probably be offered an opportunity that you should not refuse. Offered an opportunity you should not refuse. That means you have to show up ready to say yes. You can always say yes and then verify. You can do your background check. You can tell them, as long as my lawyer says it's okay. You can add like another step later. But it looks like the energy is so magical. And of course, we'll be at Unite the Light, so I cannot wait to see what this is. That if you said no in that moment, that person will move on. That's what I feel. That person will move on. So it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Do not turn down a once in a lifetime opportunity. You can always say yes and then cancel. Okay.
Yeah.
Better off than saying no, because I think what's going to happen is saying yes, which means it feels right and you sense it's right. So if you and the man are out, and some billionaire says, I will give you $1 billion, Scott, if I can sleep with your wife, will you do it?
Well, I mean, that's so not out of character. It's out of character for me, my wife, No, but I totally feel you on that. In my reads, I've been seeing a lot of that. And that's why even like you projecting like last year and even early this year, I'm like, May's the month of movement. Like doesn't be like a jump start in May and going into June and July. And so even just things being exposed, right? So like, and a lot of people say, well, they just focus on the negative, like, oh, the liars will come out. I'm like, no, but also the good people will come out and be recognized, right? For the goodness that they're doing. So those who maybe been under the radar, I feel like the light will be shine on them too in a positive sense. So, and then those who are doing shitty things will be exposed too. I feel like in the next, between now in June and July. So
Look,
but there's
here's
gonna
the
be
deal.
movement.
Regarding that, since you went there, you will not know the truth anywhere. Like the mind will become suddenly useless in the sense that it doesn't matter. People don't even realize when they hear something, hear a rumor, they immediately judge it as right or wrong without doing any research.
Yeah.
So the fact that we still hold people to their word is retarded because there's nothing more. There's nothing. Sorry to anyone who there. I don't mean that way. I know PCs. That was my.
I get it.
That was okay. But no, I just realized. You don't have to say that.
Yeah, that's a very '90s trend. Yeah, I get it.
Totally,
Yeah.
it's my childhood. There. I'm sorry, my inner child's out. But that was God's judgment. So, who invented retarded? Thank you, God. But at the end of the day, I feel like we're at a point where we're being forced to develop our psychic abilities, and we're being forced to develop these other awarenesses. And so, for a time period, about a year. What you think does not matter. What you think doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to prove it.
Yeah, that's been like a repetitive, I would say, message with my clients. It's like I'm always putting the feeling first because, as you know, our brain holds logic that's outdated. And I always use the analogy that if you're abused by a loved one, your logic will create, well, to be loved is to be abused, so I'm going to avoid love at all costs. That's logic that's been created from your experiences. Is that reliable? And that will block you from love. So if you feel it through, you realize, I need love. I deserve love. I'm going to express love. So it's more progressive on the feeling and the intuition. So you're right. The thought process you don't recognize has been holding us back all along. Those beliefs.
Totally. The mind can be controlled. In the step system, the mind is the fifth step after heart, feelings, belief, and belonging. So it's like, it's supposed to say, shut your mouth until the fifth step. And I was just thinking, I think the whole, I think therefore I am was wrong. You're not alive because you think. First of all, we think what we have in heaven is the mind. So,
if we can take thinking as far as like the processing of intuition, I'm on board. But we took the thinking thing too far because, when you have intuition, you got to like process it, use your brain to figure and to crystallize the intuition. And so I think if you think thinking in that sense, sure. But yeah, we've gotten so far off the deep end with the thinking thing.
What happened was we were reacting to the Pope, so we wanted to prove was wrong. Religion had way too much authority over as far as what they knew and weren't. They were making up as they went. Right. They're full of shit, and everyone knew it. And so, along came these logical people who were like, let's apply science, let's apply logic, let's apply reason. Well, that's kind of reasonable, but the problem with that approach, of course, is, first of all, it's all negative. You got to dissect, cut things apart, prove what's not available, disprove, prove. But the other thing is, like, with data, like the mind, as soon as you find like 6 molecules, then you find a quark. So you find a quark, but you find this. It's like, it's endless evidence. There's no way we could ever process all that evidence. That's not the way the truth is, by counting the evidence, which, by the way, that's why AI is flawed. AI is flawed because we've told it everything we've thought so far. Well, we have failed up until now. You mean it's intelligent because it knows how we failed? No, so I think it's interesting. But
just leads you down all these different rabbit holes, right? Because you can go through a rabbit hole through everything. And so then you're just in a position of just spinning. You're not really progressing just because you're in this intellectual rabbit hole. I had to correct ChatGPT like quite a few times, like, no, this does this. Like, okay, thanks for reminding me. So it's like, it's going to be flawed. And that's why we have to rely on intuition and start feeling things through and discernment.
Thank you. That's my whole point. I think that's—
Let me say this. Yeah. But like I want to dovetail what you're saying about like, they're forcing us with thinking because if they can get us to be all thought focused, they can control our thoughts.
Correct.
That's what they've been doing.
100%. You're absolutely right. It's how we've been imprisoned. We've been imprisoned in the debate over, I don't know what to think. Why don't you know what to think? Right. Because this evidence says this and this evidence says that. Good. We're going to go steal stuff while you're thinking. That's basically what it was. Steal stuff or take power. And it's like, you just go to debate until you're blue in the face. We'll be over here, having sex with your wife. Like, it was been dark stuff. Get you caught in the mind. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. I'm serious. Like, why don't you debate the moral code if that's moral or not? We'll be over here having sex with her.
Right. But it's true. It's really true, because now what you see is that they'll put out information with the complete dichotomy, both out there and needed for people like, oh, I don't know what to believe anymore. And so it's really kind of mental gymnastics at this point.
Data confusion. I would say people go like, what's the evidence? Okay, let's go to a murder trial. There are 2 experts that look at the evidence completely differently.
Right.
As long as you have 2 experts to look at the evidence completely differently, that tells you right now you ain't coming to a conclusion. How does the jury decide in that moment? Their gut.
Their gut. It's
because
true.
they have to live with themselves. At the end of the day, they like, I don't feel good about this. And so they vote the way they feel good about. That's nothing to do with logic or evidence or science or anything. Now, is it? Because they're putting their ass on the line. They've got to go talk to God about how they sent someone to prison for the rest of their life because the government wouldn't do it. Whatever. Their own. So it's interesting how we've been trapped in that, for sure. So I think, anyways, this is the segue. In June, it looks like shit's going to hit the fan. And I mean, like, this stinks in here, hit the fan.
I agree.
It's going to be intense, confusion, chaos. People not knowing what to think is going to be the next year. They just don't know what to think. And Jupiter's going to Cancer, which means any emotional immaturity comes to the surface. So we're going to have to face, we have no facts, we have no information that we can count on, and we're emotionally children that don't know how to cope. That is what they call the frequency wars, coming up around the corner on Serious Story TV.
Yep. Well, I mean, I love what you said, because that's why I feel like the mask being, kind of taking its huge thump in the next few months. But again, and for the bad and for the good too, like the good is going to be recognized as well. So we should be prepared for that as well, to make sure we're led in the right direction. That's funny, because I'm actually doing a topic in my live show tomorrow, like the fall and rise of culture, not the rise and fall, but the fall and the rising. We're recreating a new culture. So perfect segue there. So catch me tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go into that. And we'll also do live readings as usual every Thursday. So check me out tomorrow. We'll talk about the rise and fall of culture, the fall and rise of culture, which we'll talk about what that looks like moving ahead and how to discover the dichotomy. Yeah.
I hope we keep rising. What is it? What is this, Congress at the bottom? That was a kind of funny image there. Um, so getting back to the planets, on Sunday, Mercury will square Mars. That means your mind, your ego are going to get into like a food fight inside of you. And at UTL, Jupiter goes to 25 and Chiron is at 25 and they sextile. What that means in simple terms is suddenly it gets all holy come Sunday. So we have a big pop on Saturday night. You come back not knowing who you are. You're not sure even how you got there or why you're undressed. And then you have this spiritual moment of feeling just this high kind of God consciousness where you feel saved, you feel safe, you feel wise. I know what from. But what happens then on Tuesday, when we come back, then Saturn and sextile come together at 29. The sun enters Gemini. So it's kind of like a boom, boom, get the hell out of Taurus. And that's what happens. So then we're finding ourselves, our minds come Tuesday night. So it's a kind of a roller coaster, honestly.
It is. That's funny because Eric was like, I'm like, oh man, the energy, the astrology is like got heavy. And he's like, when is there never a heavy thing? I said, we have been accelerating the past, I would say, year and a half. So our ups and downs are a lot quicker. So it's not like we have up moment, now we have a down moment. So we've accelerated. So like every up is a quicker down. So we're noticing more of those downs a lot more frequently because we're actually, I believe we're accelerating, collectively, with a collective consciousness. So
we absolutely are. I mean,
yeah.
Time has sped up. I mean, I swear to God, this is not making excuses, but it's kind of, I will seriously feel in myself that I've been away for 5 minutes. I've been away for 15. I'm like, what the fuck? I swear to God, I just went to the bathroom. Like, how did that turn into 15 minutes? Like, it's just time just like the clocks are against me. Like, I don't know what's up. It's crazy. There's a conspiracy in this house. They keep changing the clocks every time I go to the bathroom. I swear. But it's been like that, or vice versa. Where where it's like, oh my God, this lecture, how long has it been? A minute? Like I feel like you lived 2 days. It's like been a minute. I'm like, what? That's just been a minute. Like, so my space time has been way warped. I think that is a evidence that you are changing timelines.
I would totally agree with that. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's funny because you feel like that. I feel like mine has been very malleable. It's like I feel like I do something. It's right about the time I want to be finished with it. Like I haven't really been thinking about, and I'm just starting to realize now that you're saying that I haven't really been paying attention to time much, but because I've been taking so much downtime that I feel like everything has been more. I've been noticing more fluidity and syncness occurring, in that space. So I agree. Well, I checked out. I'm probably unconsciously allowing the merge to occur, without trying to fight it and not being, too doing so much and missing out on the merging process. So I do definitely feel a new timeline for sure.
Yeah, I did feel it. My birthday was a new day. Like it felt really different, and I feel different. I feel like I'm back to myself. I really feel like I went off on some sort of journey, some sort of detour. I got lost at the grocery store. Well, I'm talking like a long detour, like going back.
Yeah.
I got lost at age 22. I got lost probably around 36 maybe. But like from 36 till now, I felt like I was kind of always like 1 foot not working right. And now I finally feel back together. So it's like, Humpty Dumpty's back together. That's crazy.
Well, you needed that. Like you need that.
We all go through it. I mean,
yeah.
I think we all go through it. I mean, what I'm realizing is, you set out as this young person trying to like do your best and be what you want to be, and then what hits you is your karma. And like totally. the next, I don't know, 20 years, is pretty much you trying to do what you want with your karma hitting you in the face, right?
Right.
And so you just do the best you can, and people are like, why aren't you farther right now? Why haven't you gone farther? You're so good. It's like, because I got a shitload of karma, And I think
I was just saying that today about that. Why aren't you farther? Why aren't you bigger? It's like, karma. Yeah. And then when you go, here's the thing that people, I guess, don't understand. I think it's a good topic for people to understand who are watching, people who are leaders in a sense, that we're not immune to karma and it will come up. And so, we're here to also learn through our karma how we come out of it to help and teach and to inspire too. And so, back in the time, like 5-6 years ago, I was going through massive karma, like reconstruction, and I just felt like a hypocrite. I'm like, I don't want to work. I just want to shut down clients. My guy's like, no, you're actually helping by going through your karma. You need to continue to see clients while you're working out your karma because you're going to be preaching a new message. And so and then I started recognizing that because my karma was illuminating more within me that I was not actually expressing. So yes, I mean, those of you guys who have your mentors, they're going to go through karma too. Don't think as they're going through karma, they're not leaders. No, we're going to go through it too, but we can be more of a leader on how we're processing it and how we come up on the other side. Yeah, how we emerge from it.
I learned that 15 steps in. That's like, this is good material. This is good material.
Great material, yeah.
But I did also learn boundaries where I was like, okay, I gotta, people are like, why don't you tell us? You're late. Why are you going through? Is everything all right? Well, when I'm fucking in it, I don't want to talk or teach. Okay, I'm like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
right there, like so. But I learned like, okay, once I come full circle, I get it. I have my wherewithal. Then I'll teach it. I'm in no place teaching it when I'm in it. People don't understand it. People don't understand the arc of karma that you can get through it. What seems impossible is always possible. So yes, I agree. Turn into lessons. That's for everyone out there. You got a problem? It's light work or material man. That's rich.
It's your power. That's your tools. That's your next tool. When you come out of that other side, like that's my tools now. It's like that's what my power is.
Yeah, and for those who think you're supposed to be perfect, no, I'm sorry. God does not trust you unless you go to the dark and you pull yourself out. Like you're not on a team of light in heaven if you haven't gone to the dark and brought yourself out. Otherwise, so everyone has to have some dark mistake in a past life at least.
We incarnated to not be perfect. That's why we incarnated. We incarnated to get dirty, to get messy, to figure things out. That's what we came here. So yeah, no, we're not here for that at all.
Well, then I'm getting an A plus.
Okay, yeah.
I get an A plus, man. I'm doing great.
I'm doing wonderful.
Yeah. So that said, we have the idea. Oh, what was that? Excuse you.
God don't agree.
Oh, God doesn't agree.
Buzzer.
God is still watching, by the way. He's still watching. He dematerialized as that person. He's a new person now. We'll talk more about that in the future. But I think we need to take a little breaksy. And I want to advertise what I do, Unite the Light. So let's throw a couple commercials on Adam, DJ Adam, and come back after that. Wow, I feel like I'm in a Netflix special there. Like the first one. Those are so well done, Adam. You did a good job. Oh, I don't hear you, Scott. You're kind of muted. My prism and answer.
Well, because I mute during the commercials. I don't want to hear my coughing and sniffling. But no, yeah, the first commercial. I mean, they're very well done, Adam. But it sounded like music I composed for when I did film composing. That sounds like pieces I do. So
it was really very moody. I mean, I thought it was like about a family who went too far. Like I could totally hear. Like,
yeah, it was great.
So it's all about I think the darkness of capitalism there, as Adam's word is. Yeah, and the second one's good too. The promos are much better. No, I'm kidding. Not the promos. I was gonna say better than the show, and I stopped myself. So but the promos are amazing. These promos are amazing. The people who are going are amazing. That whole crew you just saw are all incredible people. Michelle Jones is incredible. I think she's the next Oprah. Honestly, I'm not kidding. If there is a next, I mean, there'll always be something better than we thought we had before. But she's just got amazing ability to help people and talk to people. She's got a podcast that's just skyrocketing, and she cured herself of cancer. So the Clean Living Paddle is about taking it into your own hands. And the couple, they make actually cold pressed grapeseed oil, which is a good seed oil. It's a oil because it's cold pressed, and they invented technology to do it. So they went that far. They had to actually have people in Europe build it because no one in America was smart enough. And then the third is I'm going crazy on this. I'll have his name in a minute here. Myers, I'll have it in a second. Sorry, Mark. No, let me get it straight. But long story short, I can't think of his name on the fly when I asked my brain. Thanks, brain. But he ultimately had his wife die of cancer, and he won the whole thing. Mike Murphy, thank you so much, Mike Murphy, great guy, American. His wife, they did the chemo. He just watches her die in front of his eyes, like week after week. And they were going to say no to the chemo, and they actually said no, and they stopped. And she started to feel better, but then they had this whole guilt trip come up, and then went back on, and boom, she passed away. So he got mad in a good Taurus way and went to Colombia to build a complete natural breast cancer facility where you can go and heal and recover from breast cancer. Of course, my first question to him was like, why Colombia? He says, because the earth in the United States is so polluted, it'll be too much work and money to try to heal people in this environment. I need good food, I need good air, I need good water. He's like, none of it's here, none of it.
Right.
So he's American. He still lives in California. He goes back and forth to Colombia all the time.
That's amazing. That's a great leader. That's a great light worker too. There,
incredible. Totally.
And I want to be clear to people too. You said grape seed, grape seed, not rape seed. Yeah, because some people confuse grape seed with rape seed. Rape seed oil is no bueno, but grape seed, yeah, that's the good oil. Some people confuse it too. I just want to be clear about it.
Well, seed oil, they're having a hard time because people keep throwing them into the bad category because there's a seed oil. No, if you press it and squeeze it like God does, cold press it. The bad seed oils are extracting the insides of the seed through chemicals. These chemicals, they soak them in chemicals like we do with coffee. We soak it in chemicals, boom, it's gone. It's not worthy. And he's claiming that, just a couple teaspoons of grapeseed oil a day, people see their health improve. They see everything happen.
Yep.
So pretty interesting. He's like,
not all, even pumpkin seed oil is good, but say sunflower oil is not good, safflower oil is not good, canola oil is not good, but like pumpkin seed oil is great. And grapeseed is great. So yeah, we have to learn about those different oils because a lot of them have a lot of polyunsaturated fats, which causes inflammation, yada yada yada. So it's important that some people think it's sugar, and a lot of times it's their oil intake, the oils that they're using too, more so than the sugar. Sometimes.
Totally no, and he says he's had customers who are on the seed oil, and he does like the cholesterol tests, like whatever they are for heart stuff. But every month with the doctor or whatever. And after they incorporate this into his diet, it goes down. The doctor's like, what are you doing? I don't understand. Apparently it's having results, like medically testable results.
Right.
So anyways, these people are going to talk about how to have clean living and how to do that. And so it's like,
that's important.
Yeah. Clean living is a big part and important for Crystal Cities. And that's what part of Crystal Cities is about, actually, is clean living. It's going to be a great day on Sunday. We got 3 channels. They're on channel Archangel Metatron, Mary Magdalene, and the Palladian cultures will all be talking about how to get through this next period of 18 months. So that's incredible. And then we have a conscious capitalism panel. We're going to talk about, blending, being good, and making lots of money. So it's a great day on Sunday.
Great. So let's talk about these crystal cities that people are kind of curious about. So what's the history? You know more about the history too. So give us a little bit of history lesson on it.
So people don't maybe realize kind of how big this whole thing goes. But, the pyramids were built because they were and are probably still, they sort of harness the Earth's energy into a specific form. A crystal, like a radio crystal that tunes into a radio, takes energy and then shapes it or directs it into a new form. Like that's what the magic of crystals are. Remember, crystals are grown. They're not just they're grown. They grow. We watch them grow. So they're organic yet stone. So that's an interesting hybrid right there. They have the ability to store information. In Atlantis, we would store records in crystals. And there are people who could store in the crystal. They could put in the crystal and they could just fill the crystal up with information. They could read crystals. We use crystals to create gadgets. We use crystals to harness the earth and turn into a weapon against itself. Those are the days. But anyways, crystals do this kind of connecting. So you can create a crystal city, which is really a crystal community where, see this, it's kind of like Stonehenge or something like that, where the entire community, is designed to harness the energy and point it towards somewhere to where everyone is online. Each person being maybe a proton or an electron or a neutron of that energy's grid. And so they say right now, for instance, it's alleged that our modern cities are dark crystals. They're like circuit boards. They're designed to stack up, harness everyone's energy, then the second floor, third floor, fifth floor, like all these like tall buildings all in the square, energy, hitting energy, creating heat, creating resistance, like making control to keep the traffic going. And it's like, it's what's happened to water. They say water is like so bad for us because it's supposed to be naturally fall from the air and have its own mechanics, like its own architecture. But when it hits a pipe and then hits a pipe and then goes through this, it goes up there. Water is so abused by the time you drink it, it's like literally crazy, right? Yeah. Yep. So that's why we need structured water. And water has our water crystals when it freezes. So crystal cities are the idea that we build a city that makes us well, that makes us more healthy, more connected to God, more connected to our own power, that we use all this architecture of bad for good. And so in the past, a lot of, the Mayan culture, we see like, wow, they were so creative. Why did they build these pyramids in these different shapes? It was a crystal city. It was built to be a living crystal of stone and human beings and everything else, and the sun that came down. Ancient Egypt was a crystal city. These ancient sites were in awe of, having taken a stone the size of a Volkswagen and put it on the top. Like that's a whole nother story, But that is, I think, what a crystal city is. So the story goes that everyone, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, I want to build my own community. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, I want to buy some land. So I've heard over and over and over and over again, friends, these are close friends, are still trying to raise the money, trying to build these new age communities. And I've said, as soon as robots can do the work and, help me get dressed, then I'm there, but I'm not going to, little house on the prairie and carry my water up a hill. No way. Right.
Right.
But I really feel that is where we're going. When you talk about Ascended Masters, you talk to aliens as far as how they developed, they all lived in these city things and they all realized it was unhealthy. And they all sort of moved in the country like the Hobbit and lived in patches. And from what I hear, like that's the future of the world. We're going to live in patches. Patch crystals.
Yeah, and I wanted you to set the introductory for people about that because I need to be quick about that. And I think back in those days, people understood how to harness and then also project and manipulate energy, right? And they understood, the laws of physics a lot better than we did to do things that we can't necessarily do today without technology and machinery. So yeah, I think it's important now. I do feel collectively we're coming because everyone's so sick. Everyone's sick on the physical level. Everyone's sick also on the spiritual levels, and also mentally people are sick. So I think people are starting to recognize how ill they've become, and they're not getting any better, that we're more reliant upon true energy sources, right? And as you said before, water holds memory. Right. So, and that's why I want to be closer to pure water. That's why I'm closer to Lake Tahoe. I make sure I'm always and the water comes from the Truckee River here. So our tap comes straight from the Truckee River, which is amazing. And, so it holds memory, and we have to understand that too. And so we can't just drink water, consume water, just assuming that it's good for us. We have to understand the source of things now more so. And God, these dogs are going crazy today. Their energy is insane.
No, it's insane. You can feel it.
But I think people are, and this is why I think we're moving more to the crystallized cities, because I keep saying crystalline, but crystal cities, because I feel people are looking through the bullshit right now and are looking to feel better. And in order for them to understand that they need to feel better, they're being more intuitive, they're paying attention more to the energy. And so I think that's the beginning of creating more of a crystal city and so forth. And you're right about the technology. Everything is consumption. It's consuming our energy. It has to consume energy for it to work. Nothing is projecting. And so we need to be more noticing of how we're projecting at this point, in our collective.
Yeah.
So.
Well, when I was at Unite the Light last year, not to keep harping on it, but I felt like I was in a crystal city. Like everything was just high, high vibration, high energy, happiness, not a shadow in sight. Had a hard time falling asleep, and I thought, wow, this is what maybe 5D is, or this is where we're going in community, where we wake up this good and we end the day this good. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I think it was just from all of us as individual crystals all linking up. And, also we come from a hard time at COVID. So it's like a much, welcome home kind of feeling. But, so yeah, the question is, can we do it? And the problem is it takes incredible money. I mean, if you want to build a city in California, forget it. Unless you are the governor's secret lover, ain't happening. You know what I mean? Like as far as the cost and the permits and the this and
right.
that.
Right.
Everything seems you're not allowed to collect rainwater. That's against the law in most states. You can't collect rainwater. What the fuck?
Right.
How can you own the water that falls in my land that I own? How can you own that water? How can you? So just these overreaches of control and compost and garbage and all this stuff. It's all to keep us in that locked in that circuit board city, where we are tied in as a transistor and we are feeling shitty everywhere. It's just that way. It's funny because I'm out in the desert now, where you abandoned me, and. And I noticed right away, if I go to LA, it's about a day in, I'm like, okay, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
You could feel that. You could feel the congestion, the energetic congestion. You can feel the heaviness when I go back to LA. I refuse to go back there, but I really feel like because everything has been also within our society so congested, people are going to start snapping out. Like if we even look politically speaking, like people weren't happy with the last administration, not happy with this administration. People are just realizing we're being duped all the time. And so I think that's just going to reunite this change and us to break out of this kind of very consumption-oriented, paradigm till we start creating those crystal cities, both figuratively and literally. But I think that we can still harness the memories of those crystal cities that we've had from our past incarnations now, right, to illuminate our spiritual gifts, so then we can start infiltrating and becoming an inspiration of change and leaders of change, so we can start snapping more people out of this quote-unquote, like you said, circuit board matrix that we're currently in.
Yes,
and process
totally.
matrix.
Actually, that's the whole thing. I was joking. It's like you can burn down, the libraries at Alexandria, but that person, that librarian, is going to reincarnate, bring that information right back. People are channeling that. People are crystals. People are born with pre-knowledge. Now that Pluto's in Aquarius, it is opening up these, these, I guess, conscious is stored in Earth. So, You may think that you go to heaven, you take it with you. No, it's stored here on earth, actually.
That's right.
Like as far as the memories and all that stuff, it's stored on
Yeah.
earth. So, the Earth went to sleep for a while as we moved out of some sort of spectrum from the, the Milky Way. But now that
Yep.
we're waking back up again, we're remembering all these things. A lot of Atlantis, a lot of the Murray stuff opening up right now. And of course, that's also inventions. I mean, these ancient civilizations, they knew how to fly, levitate,
Yeah.
lift rocks, all kinds of cool shit, create, mermaids out of a woman and a
Yep.
fish. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
kind of cool, like technology that's awakening too with us as well.
But and I also noticed too, so maybe like 5, 10 years ago, when I would do like a past life regression on a client, say, "Oh, you were this," they're like, "Really?" They'd be surprised. Now I'm like, "Yeah, you were a cult leader." Like, "Oh, totally. I've had a dream about that." Like, I felt I was. I find people being more connected to what they possibly were in a past lifetime in their minds, possibly, but I'm confirming it for them. I find people becoming more understanding and more aware, and because I always say that every past incarnation, every skill set, talent we had from our past incarnations is stored in our DNA, so we can illuminate any of those past memories anytime we want, and those are the crystal cities that we have within that we can harness that energy and power and then project it in this physical world to bring change. So I've been noticing people becoming more in tune to their evolution spiritually, which is fantastic, just based on the reactions alone. Like we talk about astrology, they know their rising, their moon, they know all that stuff now. Before they were like, they didn't even know what a rising was.
I know. They give me all their stats, and it turns out she's 7. It's like, oh my God, you're sharper than I do. That's crazy. It's good. It's cool. It's like it's everything I want. It makes me less special now, but that's okay. I'm not everyone likes what I like. There's a whole myriad of stories. But you're right. And actually, that's where I got kind of caught on the whole. When I started seeing past lives. I don't know. Maybe when I was like 46, like 45, like it just turned on, like it was blocked, like I didn't see it, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's a past life thing. I could distinguish now past life from other kind of vision, mostly because it's kind of brown and white, kind of sepia for me, but. So I would just tell them, like, I'm going to tell you. And I would tell them, what it is out of fear because you don't know. This is a new thing. And they'd be like, oh, my God. And it's something that they hadn't spoken of it. They didn't dare bring it to their mouth. They didn't dare tell their husband. It's like, but they'd had like 5 dreams that way. Or they had, they'd had so much evidence in their life. They'd been kind of feeling like it. And me saying what it was, saying the quiet part out loud was just boom, So you're right. They had been noticing for a long time. And now, yes, it's like, now like, so it used to be a doubting husband. It's just like, yeah, my husband, he doesn't believe in this. Now that husband will be like, hey, I'm from Atlantis. Hey, dude, it's her reading. Like now they're butting in. It's really funny.
And they're coming. I'm getting the husbands coming, booking the sessions with me after the wives now. So I'm like, my male clientele has boosted up significantly, which says a lot too.
Me too.
As you've been saying, the rise of divine feminine started in 2025. The rise of divine feminine has been happening, especially with us men. We're starting to understand our creative, nurturing, and intuitive properties that we have within, and that's being expressed. So that's to me the beginning of creating our own crystal cities, and so to speak.
Yes.
And I'm using that figuratively, but also eventually literally.
I agree. I'm pretty sure that I will retire in a crystal city. I feel it. I just feel I'm going to end up there. After I tell my friends, well, build it, I'll retire there. I'll slowly go dead there. I'll need to put my feet somewhere, but I feel like, I'll find my hobbit place. I feel like there'll be one. I feel like it'll be smart, whatever it is, and it built correctly. And, here's the thing. We owe it to the world to build one so they can see what they're missing out on, at least, So it's going to be expensive and complicated and all sorts of things, because of just there's so much against that idea.
Sure.
That's the last thing America wants, is for us to leave them and do it better. You know what I mean? Like,
well, how many people say, I just want to live off grid? How about we take all the people who want to live off grid, and then we bring a group of people who want to live off grid, and we create their own city ourselves, right? And we start doing that process, and we can start from somewhere. But some people want to go off their own direction, live in the middle of nowhere and be off grid. It's like, we can't fragment like that. We got to kind of come together and start our own, paradigm to knock off the older paradigm that doesn't work anymore.
yeah,
Because how many? There's a few hundred people that run the world. Just a few hundred people, like a handful of people that run the world, and like billions of people, a couple hundred people are in control of. What about we have hundreds of thousands of people that we can use to change the world, right? And so we got to start seeing things like that,
Yeah, totally. I agree. Well, I feel like that's kind of what the next step is. I'm not sure when that eye opens, but I know that, I've been told for Unite the Light, you need to gather now. Think about it this way. It's like, if we could have gotten together and met each other and hung out before COVID, that would have been interesting. How would it be different? How less threatened would I be if I had my brothers and sisters in the light, And I feel like we have to start connecting like that now, because I think sometimes it takes 2 or 3 to open up some sort of thing. Like, it doesn't open just by yourself.
Well, right now the eye is kind of a clam. It's like we're trying to ply that cramble, but I feel people's eyes right now, and it's getting there, it's opening. But I feel COVID was what ignited in a lot of people to find their spiritual properties. right?
Oh yeah.
Because people started. I think in dire circumstances like that, people go within, and even the isolation that we've had, I feel like that was very symbolic of what the collective consciousness really needed at that time. And I find a lot of people are. I'm sure you've been seeing a lot of clients as well. Like I'm really helping a lot of new light workers. Like I feel like, is that my main gig? Just helping light workers now, like new light workers. So, which is of course humbling to me, but also a pleasure, but also very needed. And so that's definitely a sign of where things are going. Like I'm not getting where's my ex-boyfriend coming back questions anymore. That's for sure.
Right. Well, I went through that transition in my career, actually. I got one of those questions like, should I sleep with my sister? Oh, God damn it, God, please. I want to teach wizards. I get on my knees like, please don't send any kindergartners anymore. I just can't do it anymore. I can't teach the ABCs. And like, seriously, like the next week, really master people coming through on my pipe. And I was like, oh, thank God. And I think that's a natural ascension of a teacher. But I also feel like, I looked at Serious Joy and I was like, wait a second, these aren't clients. These are teachers. No wonder they keep calling me on my shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I realized, oh, okay, that's maybe how it works. A few pioneers teach teachers who teach more teachers who teach more teachers. And eventually it filters down to more simple expressions that are more easily digestible at that time. Sure. Because one thing I take for granted is just how fast I leaped ahead. Like I leaped way ahead. Didn't realize it. At the time I thought, I'm not enough. I was running. I didn't realize, oh, you're 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead. Before you realize where most people are, and by the way, where the money is. Like, oh crap, I'm up here in the mountain, and I can't sell my. So I agree, and I feel like it is time for everyone to step into their sphere of influence. So you've already got your following. Everyone has their following. You don't have to be on social media. You have a following. People who want to know how you're doing, they want to know what's up. They're curious about, well, how'd you cook that? Where'd you get that? Right. Those are your students. They're the ones who've chosen you for knowledge. And so those people who voluntarily ask you questions, that's your following. And that's your sphere of influence. That's the size of your class. Now, you want a bigger class? Okay.
Well, that's the change, but that's the change, right? That's what I've said. The change of celebrity culture will be. It's not going to be like we're revering certain hand-selected people. Of that's the trendsetters. I said like 5-6 years ago that's going to crash. Where people can be able to find their own individual audiences, right? Their own individual followings, in a sense that everyone can thrive. There's space for everybody. So we're not looking at numbers because, I started social media like a year and a half ago, like being heavy on that. But I've always been busy behind the scenes for 12 years, like booked out all the time, right? And so, my social media numbers don't reflect that, but even now I'm still busy still. So you can have your own following, still be busy, and, don't let the social media numbers deprive you, thinking you have to have millions of followers. You will find your audience in and outside of social media, I want to tell people. I know a lot of people, let that shoot them down because their followers aren't big or they aren't growing fast enough. I'm like, there's always outside influences, like you creating Unite the Light, right? That's another format outside of social media that gathers people together. That's very influential and that spreads, right? And so I found a lot of people too have been very kind of sitting back online, like they're not really engaging as much anymore in the comments, or I find people just more observing, and that's a good sign to me. It means people are really digesting. They're not there to purge, they're observing, and I think that's good for their discernment, moving forward as well.
I agree. I feel the same. I feel that the whole, issue about law of attraction and whatnot. I think people don't realize that when you try to do something, you try to get a big audience or get a big sell here, a big sell there. A lot of times it's for your own inadequacies and you're not ready. Anytime it didn't go off, I realized, I wasn't ready. I wouldn't be able to handle that. I would not have been able to handle that. So you can't, the reason why you can't, manifest something bigger than you can handle is because you can't manifest something bigger than you. You can never be bigger than you. So if you're not gigantic and worldwide in your energy, and worldly in your energy, you're not going to be worldly in your social attraction. And by the way, as soon as that happens, it's a whole other skill set you need to deal with it. I personally think there will not be celebrities. I think there'll be collective celebrities. I think there'll be collective celebrities, which are celebrities, and celebrities will be like, the collective, all talk about that person, but the media doesn't, right? Like the homegrown celebrities. And I think you need to have celebrities. These are people who ultimately are doing it right. And so everyone wants to know how to do it. It's a different, like, honoring you just for an image. It's honoring you for what the people have said about you, what you've heard about, the water cooler. That's a celebrity. And I think that's the new term.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a good exchange. So that's we can take the Crystal City theme and make that internal for now, and also like reactivating those memories and those spiritual talents and start projecting them now. That's how we can get the ball rolling on creating our crystal cities, both figuratively and literally, because so many people are starting to realize their spiritual gifts. And I love the point you said too before that, there's teachers that still follow you. It's like, of course, we're with colleagues, right?
Yes.
And all because I'm a musician doesn't mean I don't go watch other musicians and be inspired by other musicians or need leadership in other music, right? And so same thing here. You're gonna have those who are also top of their game, also interacting with your work too. Don't be, and those who are new, don't be threatened by that. They will teach you, but you also need to lead the way. And we're all kind of learning from each other's different points of view and perspectives. There's no hierarchies here.
The reason why nobody is different is because nobody wants to be you, but you. That's the thing, and you have nothing to worry about. And if people like you for you, then that's cool.
Yeah,
Nobody
don't
wants
want to be me.
be you. So I think that's part of it. There's no jealousy or competition in light work because the client is being drawn to what they need, not what they like.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of times I'll beat on the door of what they like, and what they need is sitting there the whole time. It's like, okay, we have all the answers you need right there in that person, who doesn't have a million follows or whatever. And you always think that they're good looking, or you always think this. They kind of seem sparkly, but no one's following them. I don't know. You're letting the world choose for you in that case. You're letting the piece of art that you're painting, this reality, you're letting the art tell you what to do, the artist. That's weird.
Yeah.
Well,
That's kind of flip on the side too. I think now people see all these followers are like, they turn the other direction. I remember like companies were using like undiscovered influencers to promote their brands, not the ones with millions of followers, right? So it's definitely turned to more organic, approach to things, So there's a huge shift of, again, being energetically focused, not superficially focused, because that's paradigm slowly breaking down too, so.
Yeah,
and I had people from your audience who, when they first met me, because I'm, raw and direct and I rant, I had a couple people say, I never thought I'd book a session with you. And I'm like, what? And they said, because, at first you rubbed me the wrong way. And then they said, but I realized I needed your approach. And so that's why I booked a session with you. And so I rubbed a lot of people the wrong way who are actually now regular clients of mine, because like you said, they needed something more direct for themselves. They need to break that barrier, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you tend to resist what you need most, If you say never, like, hey, you should date blah, blah, never. Uh-oh. There's so much never that came out so fast. Like, right. That first got kick it away, get it away. There's some, I've had that too. I mean, I irritate my clients and they do go. No, I think ultimately there's a lot of arcs with clients, but a lot of times denial is one of them. I mean, and something tells them to stay or not. And the truth is, if they go, okay, I don't really want to deal with your walls. Leave room for someone who wants it, kind of thing. To me,
yeah.
I don't have time to do one-on-one, especially. So a lot of clients out there. I think the lightwork business is going to explode. That's why we're doing Unite the Light, because
I agree.
We need to protect our industry. We need to have, unified healthcare. We need to have healthcare that allows you to put Reiki down as a write-off. That's what we need. We need like a bank that's not going to tax us on bullshit and that's going to honor us and help us with our finances. We need to put all of our money in the same bank, so it's all good money in a bank that we know it's not being lent to a Colombian gang or whatever. No offense, Colombia. We have a couple, but I'm using TV references. Who knows the truth is Hollywood. But I feel like ultimately, like part of that Crystal City discussion is crystal resources. Like we've got to develop our own resources, our own, savings and loans, our own water supply that's, structured correctly. And so I don't know how we do it, but I know it'll happen.
I agree with you on that as well, and I think that, when people just focus on what's pure for them, then purity, of course, will manifest externally. So what is pure for you? Start now on your individual lives. What is pure for you? Because, I look at a lot of things too, we feel very, I would say like it's too big for us to accomplish. And I keep going back to, but there's only a few hundred people that that rule the world of 7 billion people. Like there's so many more people that can influence. So, we do need every level, whatever, and I don't mean level to be judgmental, every different aspect and expression. And I would say there's truth everywhere. And just like different crystals, right? Different colors and shades of crystals, we're all coming from different expressions, but we're all coming from the same intention. And you want to use your intuition to understand, is that part of a crystal city? Is that light a different shard, a different reflection of the bright light that I'm looking for? Understand that. And it could be loud, it could be soft, it could be edgy, it could be, conservative, it could be so many different things. And we have to learn how to not separate any longer, because with medical industry, why is Eastern Western medicine separate? We understand why, because of profit. But imagine if we utilize both, right? Imagine if it wasn't Republican, Democrat, it was just one political party, right? And we need to start understanding how to use our voice to unify. We got to stop this divisive bullshit.
Yes, I mean it's a huge unplugging, brainwashing, and and cleansing yourself. I mean, I think the first thing to realize is you are the crystal. You are the crystal. You are the one putting out the signal that's bringing in that person. You are the one asking for it on the inside. This entire reality is designed to bring you what you aren't necessarily sure of yourself, like to bring you physical experiences and reactions. I had an epiphany over the weekend. I realized how law of attraction works. It's Mother Earth, Mother Earth's spirit, her soul. We're living in her soul. That's what I realized. Like we're living in her soul. Her soul is what's telling you to get up and go over across the street, knock on the door, and you're like, oh my God, it's what I voted for, or what I prayed for. It's her. I realized we're living in the womb of Mother Earth. She facilitates this law of attraction. She's the one that makes it all happen. She's the one that tells the girl at the bar, hey, he's into you, right? What is that? So I just realized I'm like, why didn't I think about that before? It's so crazy. I think that's why we have it, because apparently you don't have law of attraction on other planets.
Well, I get your context. I feel like that's Mother Earth is our collective bubble, right? Because we're all integrating in our own collective, individual purposes. It creates this collective bubble. So we can, when we're connected to that, we can feel the navigation, the GPS of go here, not this, and we can find the things that resonate for us. So I do think it's our soul that's really kind of tuning in to collective and being psychic and understanding to navigate and feel the vibrations. But again, different reflections, same message, and just like a crystal, it's a reflector of light.
Okay.
And so, but different reflections of light. So you're not saying the same thing with different reflections of it.
Maybe. Are you willing to accept if Mother Earth can show you herself who she is?
Well, of course,
I feel she's a spirit, a soul, a Scott that's 1 billion years old. I think
of course,
all souls are their souls. They're constantly focusing
totally.
on. It is a soul that has been around for ancient.
Yeah. But that's creation to me. Creation is like a rabbit hole too. It's like never ending spiral of creation.
Yeah.
And creation spawns from consciousness. So absolutely. I think because of our collective, it creates a consciousness in that sense. Yeah, absolutely.
I think Mother Earth is this amazing female soul who spends a little bit more on the female spectrum than Mars on the male.
It's divine feminine for sure. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, she's a she. And I feel like it's a soul that was like, I'm going to have 1 trillion children. Like just wanted to be like, what do you be after you've been a comet and all these other, you start being huge objects apparently in the solar system, because the bigger the more light you have, the bigger you can manifest. That's what I'm understanding. The bigger you can materialize. So she's as big as the Earth.
But understand, look how dense the Earth is too by evolution. Right.
Well, look at how dense I am. But when I turn to a light body, I ain't gonna be that heavy.
Are you okay? Yeah, well, but no, planet Earth's all about evolution. I always say divine feminine is all about soul evolution. Right?
I agree.
All about that.
Well, that's ladies. That's what you can become. You want to look good in a dress? How about be the Earth? Damn. All the men you want. It's like living on your land with your law. My point is, I feel like
island.
It's a co-creation with Mother Earth. I just thought it was interesting. I think the soul is how it happens. But the Earth is what I feel like. But
yeah,
I feel close to her because I'm a Taurus, so we kind of geek out on this. You're from Uranus. Go to your cold planet. Be quiet. Just kidding.
No, I need to be in the right area with planet. The Earth speaks to me. Yeah. And especially here where I'm at now, the skies are beautiful. We're higher elevation, so the clouds are closer. Always dramatic clouds, the views, the water. So it's just to me I need the nature to speak, but Mother Earth and nature to speak to me. That's how I find my purity, right? That's how I understand where I position myself in the collective in this earth too. So, and then you can hear your purpose better. Yes. Because you're incarnated in planet Earth, so there's a purpose for you. Connect with the Earth so you understand how you fit in with this Earth, and that could be a very physical process, not just being transcendent meditation. It's a very physical process. That's why I agree and love to walk barefoot on the ground, in a sense, because you feel the vibrations of the Earth. So it's hard to do it in the desert because you'll find those pricklies and those scorpions. But when you find areas you can do so, it's really good to connect with that vibration for sure.
I love Mother Earth. Moving on the desert is good for me. No, I love Mother Earth. I love it. I know. Well, my little boy loves her. It's so nice. I felt loved her a long time ago. I have a memory of the first time I laid my eyes on Earth as an alien. I have a memory of that. I have a memory of landing. I have a couple of memories that I know I didn't make up. They just came. So I love this planet. I loved it from the beginning. I fell in love with it. But I also am happy in the desert because I needed quiet. It was just too noisy. I'm too noisy.
Yeah,
I need quiet.
That's why I moved there too, because then I realized Palm Springs is too noisy for me. So now I'm even in more quiet. So, and I had a channel vision that I was not humans were placed on Earth. Humans were not designed for planet Earth initially. that's what I channeled, that we were placed here and we hybridized. And so I feel like us as humans being on planet Earth was an experiment for sure.
The whole thing's an experiment. That's all. We should actually do that. Write that down, Erica.
We should. That's a good topic. Yeah.
Yeah, because the creation of the earth was deliberate. And the
Yes.
story is very convoluted and interesting. And, the angels actually manipulated them into an alien species into doing it for them. So, angels will cheat and they will trick you all the time. Not take away free will, but they'll trick you. And so they tricked that race into, I think, the DNA stuff. But Earth was, from my terraformed. I mean, when the first ancient alien planet, species came, there was a planet where there was an asteroid now, and apparently Earth was all water. There was
That
no
makes
land.
sense. That makes sense. It's fun because I was thinking about the two we were talking. So I'm like, look at the species that live underwater. It's a very natural, a very abundant experience for them. We have to really work to survive on planet Earth, and we can't really. We have to use technology to be in extreme temperatures, right? We have to be around certain accessibility to foods. A lot of species that are on this planet, it's easy for them. They have the ability to fly. They have the resource accessibility. Where it's difficult for us without machinery and technology for us to really survive. I would say in planet Earth, we have to really work at it.
That's because our scientists are hacking things. It's like we're gonna hack.
That's true.
Hack Earth. It's like you fucking hack. Like, just work with her. Just
You
work
fucking
with her.
Rockefeller.
Seriously, Rockefellers. Yeah, fucking Rockefellers. Ooh, that's a good word. Oh my God, I just came with inspiration. If you're a
You
fucking
fucking
Rockefeller, you're a fucking Rockefeller, aren't you?
Yeah,
That's
aren't
a good
you?
thing. Yeah, that's a good one to say. Nonetheless, I think we have to learn to talk to her. She'll tell us. Atlantis just had crystals, man. They had crystals and they could fly and they could do all this stuff and ruin planets with crystals.
Yeah.
So she's our mother.
It's funny you're in a desert because I know that desert, that Coachella Valley was once water. It was all underwater. You could see like this like beach sand in a lot of Coachella Valley where you're at. So I always felt when I was with Eric, I said, Eric, I feel like I'm always by the beach here for some reason. I know it's like desert, but I always feel like there's like water by here. So I feel like there was heavy water there at some point. Centuries ago. How many years? I don't know how many years, but it feels like it was heavily water there.
It
for
was.
sure.
They found like sea animals and stuff, and it all drained down into the earth, which are now the springs, the Palm Springs. The
Palm
springs where that
Springs,
water
Desert
comes
Hot
from.
Springs.
Water comes up, it goes down. Water goes up, it goes down. It's kind of caught in a loop. It all changes with Earth, but I guess we're out of time. They're telling us we have to get off the air. What the fuck? So we just want to say,
You have a flight.
yeah, I got to catch a flight tonight. But please join us in Nashville at Unite the Light. It's going to be great. Listen to your heart. If your heart wants it and you don't give it to yourself, shame on you. Shame on you. Give your heart. If your heart doesn't want it, then that's fine. We'll see you next year.
Keep it
I'd love to see
simple.
you there. Yeah, and you'll see Scott there as well too. I guess I don't know what our topic is next week, or I tease it.
Fuckerfeller. We should call it Fuckerfeller. Like that person said. The Fuckerfellers. Are you a Fuckerfeller?
Yeah, Ruck Fuckerfeller.
Yeah.
Like Ruck Fuckerfeller. Okay, terrific. Well, you guys, I will see you in person. Come give me a hug, Unite the Light, and let's do a selfie. And Mr. Scott, thanks for being a host on the hour special, the lunch special on day one. That's awesome, man. I'm going to try to get on there and rap with you if I can, depending on what I'm being called to do. No, it'd be great.
Yeah, be fun.
And that's it. That's all we have for this week, folks. But do not live in a shift show. Lead out loud.
Lead out loud.
See you next
Good night, guys.
So how was that? That one's fast.
It did. And we kind of brushed the crystal cities, but we kind of like unified. What we talked about is, I would say, remnants of Crystal City, the energy we talked about, right? The intentions, the way of living represents
I wish
Crystal
I
City.
knew more about Crystal Cities, literally. I mean,
Me too.
that's what Robert Everett Grant is like working on too. He's working finding those clues, like the pyramid lit up at night and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of mystery in like stones and crystals. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, which all goes back to our
Whether
power.
you have answers or you're seeking answers.
There's something here for everyone.
The love that is felt in the room, it's unmatched.
Talking to all these other people and all these different stages of life.
Energy changing, next level.
It's allowing me to have tears of joy, not the tears of sadness that I've had for so long.
They've all been super inspiring.
I've been brought to tears.
I'm learning how to love myself.
I've never felt so comfortable in my life.
It has been a blast. Highly recommend.
We were told the world works a certain way. Chase success, play the game, follow the rules. But what if the game is rigged? What if your power was never really lost, just misplaced? Soul Capitalist isn't just a book, it's a wake-up call. a roadmap for reclaiming your power and rewriting your story on your own terms. Because changing the world doesn't start with a movement. It starts with you. It starts with creating a world that reflects your highest self. Soul Capitalist is a guide back to your truth, a call to awaken your inner power and lead from the light within. Soul Capitalist, how to take back your power and change the world. Available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.